Pokémon SCYTHER vs. CHARIZARD. Chapter 1. Bug Island. Look! It's Mokot Island! Ash Ketchum shouted. He pointed to an island covered in thick woods. Ash and his mouse Pokémon, Pikachu, rode on Ash's trusty Lapras, a large, blue, water-type Pokémon. Ash's friends Misty and Tracy also rode Lapras. Misty held Togepi, a tiny baby Pokémon that had hatched from a rare egg. Ash couldn't wait to get to Mokot Island and the next Pokémon adventure. Let's go! Ash called to his friends. He pulled his red and white cap over his shaggy black hair. Ash wanted to explore the island right when he turned 10. Ash had left away home to go on a journey to search for new Pokémon creatures with amazing powers and to compete against gym leaders to earn badges. To become a Pokémon master, he needed to capture and train all different kinds of Pokémon. Bib. His journey had taken him a long way, all the way to the Orange Islands. He and his friends had seen some amazing things on the islands, and he hoped Mokot Island wouldn't be any different. Ayaha! Misty cried as a large beedrill buzzed overhead. The combination bug and poison-type Pokémon looked like a big, fierce bee. Misty clutched Togepi tightly. Her orange hair gleamed in the sun. But Tracy looked excited. Mokot Island is famous for having tons of bug-type Pokémon, he said. We might discover a new Pokémon. Tracy was a Pokémon trainer and watcher. He was a few years older than Ash and wore a bandana in his dark hair. Tracy was always searching for new Pokémon to study and draw. Lapras swam up to the island's shore. Ash and his friends jumped off onto the beach. Thanks, Lapras, Ash said as he took out a Pokeball. Ash recalled Lapras and put the Pokeball back on his belt. Tracy took out 2 of his Pokeballs. Marill! Tracy called, and a blue Pokémon appeared. Marill looked like a plump blue mouse with big ears. A round ball bobbed on the end of its long tail. Venonat! Tracy shouted. A furry, bug-like Pokémon stood next to Marill. Venonat had 2 round, red eyes, 2 flat feet and no arms. Ash and Tracy were eager to start capturing Pokémon. But Misty looked like she wanted to get back on Lapras and ride out to sea. What's the matter with her? Tracy asked. He looked over at Misty, who was usually fearless. Misty's afraid of bug-type Pokémon, Ash explained. Oh, I get it. Tracy turned to Misty. When it comes to bugs, Misty's a chicken. Who are you calling a chicken? Misty protested. Don't worry, Misty, Tracy comforted. Marill and Venonat will take care of us. Ash watched as Venonat and Marill headed straight for the woods. Venonat's radar and Marill's keen hearing will help us find new Pokémon, Tracy explained. Ash nodded. Tracy's Pokémon had proven themselves to be very useful on their adventures. Venonat and Marill led Ash and the others to a clearing in the forest. A group of small, green bug-type Pokémon crawled in the grass. Cool! Cater pie, Ash said. Misty took one look at them and turned right around. Yuck! I hate bugs. I hate bugs. I hate bugs, she chanted as she dragged Ash and Pikachu away. Suddenly, they heard a noise in the trees. They stopped. A large Pokémon with 2 sharp horns on top of its body jumped in front of them. It raised its terrible claws in the air. It was a Pinsir, Ash knew. The caterpie looked cute compared to the Pinsir even to Misty. Misty grabbed Ash's arm. They ran back to find Tracy. Ash told Tracy all about the scary pincer. Pincer are pretty incredible, Tracy said. But not that unusual. I'm hoping Mariel and Venonette will find something really rare. Suddenly, Venonette and Mariel pointed into the woods. There's something in that direction, Tracy said excitedly. He ran after his Pokémon. Ash and the others followed. Soon they came to a clearing in the trees. Venonette and Mariel had found something, all right. A big green Pokémon with razor-edged wings was lying on the ground. It looked very, very sick. Ash quickly took out his Pokédex, Dexter. The small computer held information about all kinds of Pokémon. Scyther, the mantis Pokémon. It uses its sharp wings to capture prey. It can also use its wings to fly. It is seldom seen by humans and almost never captured, Dexter explained. Okay, bad Urea. Ash, Misty, Tracy and Pikachu moved Lise forward to check out Scyther. Suddenly, it opened its eyes and hissed. The friends quickly jumped back. It looks angry, Misty commented. Let me check out your injuries, Scyther. Tracy whispered gently. He slowly approached the giant creature. Scyther jumped up. It looked ready to attack the friends at any moment. All right, then, Ash said. He took out a Pokeball to capture Scyther. What are you doing, Ash? Tracy asked. I'm going to catch this Scyther. Then I'll take it to the Pokémon Center so it can get help, Ash replied. He threw the Pokeball at Scyther. Go, Pokeball! Ash shouted. The Pokeball flew through the air. Scyther raised a giant wing. It easily batted the Pokeball away. Ash couldn't believe it. Scyther refused to be caught. How can Scyther do that? Misty asked. It looks so weak. Ash frowned. Scyther did look weak. Ash knew that he had to get it to the Pokémon Center soon. But Scyther didn't look like it would back down easily. In fact, it looked ready for a fight. Chapter 2. Scyther Attack. If that Scyther wants a fight, it'll get one. Ash yelled. Go Pikachu! Pikachu was the very first Pokémon Ashku ever had. The small electric-type Pokémon always fought bravely for Ash. Even though Scyther was much bigger, Pikachu was ready for the challenge. Wait! Tracy called before Pikachu could get to Scyther. It's too weak to fight. You want me to just leave it here? Ash asked. It's a rare Pokémon, Tracy. And it needs help. Leave it to me, Tracy replied. You're up, Venonette, he told his Pokémon. Venonette carefully approached Scyther.sv. Venonette was not much bigger than Pikachu. It didn't look like a good match for Scyther either. But Tracy knew Venonette had many powerful poisonous techniques. You can do it, Venonette, he shouted. Sleep powder. Venonette released the sleep powder. The weakened Scyther couldn't resist. It drifted softly into a deep sleep. It's working! Ash exclaimed. Tracy hurled a Pokeball at Scyther. The ball opened. Light flashed, and the Scyther disappeared. It was finally caught. Quick, Tracy ordered his friends. Let's get it to a Pokémon Center. As the friends traveled through the forest, they were too busy to notice the giant hot air balloon flying overhead. Inside the balloon were Jessie, James and Meowth, a trio of Pokémon thieves known as Team Rocket. The balloon looked just like Meowth, a white scratch cat Pokémon. Team Rocket searched the forest through their binoculars until they spotted Ash and his friends. Just the Pokémon trainers we love to steal from, sneered Jessie, a tall teenage girl who wore a white uniform. Let's get them, yelled her partner, James. James had blue hair and wore a uniform just like Jessie's. But Team Rocket didn't notice the beedrill that was quickly approaching. The beedrill punctured the balloon with its sharp stinger. What a letdown! James cried as the balloon deflated and sailed back down to land. Jessie, James, and Meowth looked around at all the strange, bug-like Pokémon that inhabited Makot Island. Off! Where are we? Jessie wondered. It's certainly buggy. James shrugged. You can say that again, Meowth said. There's a swarm of Scyther headed our way. Slash! The sound of Scyther's sword-like wings whipped through the air. Swish! Scyther moved so fast Team Rocket couldn't even see what was happening. Team Rocket shut their eyes as a blur of metallic wings surrounded them. They didn't open them until it was quiet again. Jessie looked up and down. She was still in one piece. Phew! That was a close one. Jessie sighed with relief. I thought I was a goner. James agreed. Then he and Meowth got a good look at Jessie. They tried to hide their giggles. What's wrong? Jessie demanded. Jessie. I'm afraid. James didn't want to tell her the bad news. Your hair's not there. Meowth purred. Jessie felt around the top of her head. Where once there had been long, flowing red hair, now there were short chunks. The Scyther had cut off her hair. I'm gonna get that Scyther. Jessie screamed. Someone is going to pay. Blue, why catch just one Scyther when we can swipe the whole swarm? Meowth asked. You think we could do that? Jessie and James wondered. Of course! If we had a swarm of Scyther on our side, we'd be simply unstoppable. Meowth explained. Yes. James understood. We can get revenge for Jessie's hair and score points with the boss at the same time. What are we waiting for? Jessie asked. I want revenge on those butchering bugs. Chapter 3. Scyther recovers. Why did the Scyther keep trying to fight when it was so weak? Ash wondered. Ash, Misty, and Tracy were at the Pokémon Center on Makot Island. Nurse Joy, a red-haired Pokémon expert, worked to heal the injured Scyther. 2-round, Pink Chansey helped Nurse Joy. The friends waited anxiously outside the operating room. Hey, you guys. Misty looked through the glass window of the operating room. Scyther keeps staring at us. Nurse Joy came out to talk to the friends. How is Scyther? Ash asked. It's in pretty bad shape, Nurse Joy said regretfully. It will take quite a while for it to recover. What do you think happened to it? Ash asked. Maybe if they knew the cause of Scyther's injuries, they could help it recover. Nurse Joy explained, I guess the old warrior finally lost a battle for leadership of its swarm. How do you know that Scyther was the leader of its whole swarm? Tracy asked. Well, Nurse Joy continued, an older Scyther could only have got these kinds of injuries by battling another Scyther. Ash was still confused. But if it's so strong, how could it have been defeated? Usually it's a younger, faster Scyther that challenges the leader. Sometimes speed and power can overcome even the most experienced Pokémon, Nurse Joy explained. Once a leader loses to another Scyther, it can't stay in the swarm. Unless it wins another leadership battle, it has to live all by itself. Ash was listening closely to Nurse Joy when he heard her ring. It's the video phone, Ash told Nurse Joy. Nurse Joy switched on the video phone. Professor Oak, the ultimate authority on Pokémon, appeared on the screen. Ash had first come to the Orange Islands to pick up the mysterious GS ball for Professor Oak. Professor Oak, Ash greeted his mentor. This is my friend Tracy. He's an excellent Pokémon watcher. He captured the Scyther that Nurse Joy is taking care of. You should be very proud of your capture, Tracy, Professor Oak replied. Congratulations. Tracy looked embarrassed. I guess so. Aren't you happy to have caught it? Professor Oak asked. Tracy looked at the Scyther, who was lying in bed. It was still hissing and staring at them. It doesn't seem to like me, Tracy said sadly. Scyther are born with a warrior's pride, Professor Oak told Tracy. The Scyther must feel it has lost pride by losing first the leadership battle and then being caught by you. What can I do to help it? Tracy asked eagerly. Professor Oak continued. Keep in mind that every single Pokémon has its own unique feelings and personality. You must try to help Scyther regain confidence in itself and in its strength. Ash could see the determination on Tracy's face. He knew Tracy was thinking about Professor Oak's words. Ash watched Tracy go to Scyther's bedside. As Ash stood in the doorway, he could hear Tracy whisper, I'm sorry, Scyther. You must feel terrible after being captured without a real battle. Scyther looked at Tracy and hissed weakly. But as a trainer, I couldn't just leave you there, Tracy explained. I never thought I would end up hurting you. Ash entered the room. I have an idea, Tracy, he said to his friend. What if this Scyther has a rematch with the one it lost to? Scyther's a natural-born warrior. And it's happiest when it's battling. As Scyther listened to Ash's words, it turned toward him. It looked a little stronger already. Tracy turned to Scyther. What do you think, Scyther? When you're better you can go and battle again. Maybe I can even help you to train if you want me to. Suddenly, Scyther began to flap its wings. It floated up above the bed. Nurse Joy and the friends looked alarmed. No, wait! Nurse Joy pleaded. You can't move yet. Scyther flew away from Tracy and crashed out through the window. The friends called after it. Scyther! Scyther! Come back! You're not well enough yet. But it was too late. Scyther flew out of sight. Ash headed out the door right after Scyther. Come on, he called to his friends. I bet Scyther's going to challenge the new leader to a rematch. Chapter 4. Revenge is not so sweet. Hold on, Ash whispered to the others. Look up ahead. Ash had spotted Team Rocket hiding in the bushes. They were spying on the swarm of Scyther that had attacked them and cut off Jessie's hair. It's time for revenge, Jessie cried. Jessie pointed a device that looked like a telescope at the swarm. Now it's payback time, she shouted. A missile shot out the end of the device. It flew into the air. Then it exploded, sending yellow, gooey toffee all over the Scyther swarm. All the Scyther were caught in the gummy mess. As they twisted and turned, trying to escape, Team Rocket blasted another device. This time, a net surrounded the sticky swarm. So you thought you could get away with cutting my hair, did you? Jessie taunted. Well, now I've cut you all down to size. The Scyther struggled to slash the net, but they couldn't move. They were too sticky from the toffee missile. No! Ash cried. Somebody's got to save them. At his words, something swooped down. From a nearby tree. Tracy's Scyther. Its body might have been weak, but its heart was super strong. Scyther slashed at the top of the net with its sharp wings. The net opened up, and the captured they were free. Scyther climbed out. What's going on? Jessie asked. Ash ran out of his hiding place. His friends followed. That's when they noticed Jessie's chopped up hair. Ash couldn't help giggling. What are you looking at? Jessie challenged them. Hey, where did you get that new haircut? Misty laughed. You insult my hair? Jessie warned. Prepare for trouble. Jessie and James shouted a new, improved BrimQ battle cry. To protect the world from pattern baldness. To fight split ends within our nation. To denounce bad hair and poor complexion. To draw jealous stares in our direction. Jessie! James! Team Rocket blast off with halos alight. Surrender now or prepare to fight. Meowth! That's right, added Meowth. Let's catch Pikachu and all those Scyther at once. Ash was prepared to battle. Go, Pikachu! Ash commanded. Pikachu squeaked as it lunged at Team Rocket. Led James quickly took out a Pokeball. He released a Pokémon that looked like a purple cloud of smog with two heads. It was Weezing, a poison-type Pokémon. Weezing, smokescreen. James ordered. A gray fog covered Ash and his friends. They began to cough and choke. Pikachu was helpless. Heilsmet. Oh no, Ash thought. We might actually lose to Team Rocket. Then there was a whir in the air. Ash looked up. Tracy's Scyther was spinning like a top, creating a strong wind. The wind cleared away all the smog. What's that? Ash asked Dexter as he began to breathe more easily. Sword Stance, Scyther's special attack. Scyther spins furiously to focus its energy and increase its attack power, Dexter explained. Scyther folded its wings. It landed on the ground in front of Meowth. SCY, it warned in a raspy voice. Meowth understood most Pokémon language. The Scratch Cat Pokémon nodded. Yeah, you talk pretty big. What did it say? James asked Meowth. Meowth spoke in its deepest voice. It's saying, I may not be their leader anymore, but I won't let you take them. But Team Rocket wasn't going to give up so easily. Arbok! Jessie shouted as she threw a Pokeball in the air. A poison-type Pokémon that looked like a cobra appeared. Victory Bell, called James. He released a Pokémon that looked like a giant yellow plant. Jessie threw one more ball in the air. Lickitung, she yelled. A pink and white Pokémon with a long, sticky tongue burst from the Pokeball. Weezing, Victory Bell. James commanded. Tear it apart. You, too, Arbok and Lickitung. Jessie added. Team Rocket's Pokémon advanced on Tracy's Scyther. Pikachu ran in to help. But Scyther lifted a wing and held Pikachu back. It didn't want any help. It needed to fight this battle all by itself. It's battling to win back its pride as a warrior. Tracy exclaimed. Scyther looked back at Tracy. It knew that Tracy now understood. It was ready to obey his commands. Meowth challenged Scyther first. Attack! Tracy shouted. Scyther let out a great roar. It raised a great wing and slashed Meowth. Meowth tumbled through the air. Good job, Scyther, Tracy called. Scyther hovered in the air, waiting for the next attack. Ash saw Lickitung and Victreebel sneaking up beneath the warrior Pokémon. Tracy noticed it, too. Lickitung was coming from the left. Victreebel was coming from the right. Look out below, Scyther! Tracy shouted. Scyther flew up just in the nick of time. Instead of grabbing Scyther, Lickitung and Victreebel crashed into each other. The battle wasn't over. Arbok slithered up into the air. Ash knew that Scyther needed to watch out for its poison sting. Quick attack, commanded Tracy. Scyther danced from side to side around Arbok. Arbok tried to attack Scyther. But Scyther was too fast. Arbok missed and fell to the ground. Victreebel recovered and returned to battle. But Scyther quickly used the /SW attack to cut off a few of Victreebel's leaves and the Pokémon retreated. It worked! Ash cried, but he was still worried. Scyther was weak and out of breath. He wasn't sure how much more fighting it could take before it fainted. Arbok, poison sting! Jessie commanded. The snake-like Pokémon shot out sharp, poison-drenched spikes that rained down on Scyther. Scyther was too weak to retaliate. Ash cringed. Don't let them win. Scyther, he called out. But in his heart, he knew that Scyther was too weak to win this battle after all. Chapter 5. An old friend to the rescue. Scyther writhed in pain. Arbok closed in to finish the attack. It shot a new barrage of poison needles at Scyther. Ash turned away. He couldn't bear to look. But the sound of wings made him turn back. A blurry figure flew in front of Scyther. It was the new leader of the Scyther. Swarm! The young Scyther deflected the needles with its wings. It defended our Scyther! Tracy shouted happily. Jessie looked determined. Then all of you attack at once, she ordered her Pokémon. Team Rocket's Pokémon were now as weak as Scyther once was. Tracy and Scyther worked together to defeat them easily. Scyther raised its shiny wings to fight off another attack from Arbok. Then Scyther crossed its wings, one over the other. Energy flashed from the razor tips and slammed into Team Rocket's Pokémon. The blast knocked them all down. Jessie had one last hope. She raised the toffee missile device and screamed, "I've still got one more shot." Pikachu! Ash ordered. Thunderbolt! Pikachu sent out a fierce bolt that electrified Jessie, James, and Meowth. They ran as fast as they could into the trees. But before they could get away, Scyther used one last slash attack to chop off their hair. All that was left was one stripe down the middle of each of their heads. Ash, Misty, and Tracy laughed at Team Rocket's new look. A swarm of Beedrill flew overhead. A parade of Caterpie crawled up a nearby tree. Guys, Misty said tentatively. Do you think we could get off this bug-infested island now? Ash and Tracy smiled. Sure thing, Misty. Then Ash and the others made their way to shore, with Scyther and its swarm flying right behind them. As Ash released Lapras, Tracy watched as Scyther said goodbye to its old swarm before returning to its Pokeball. Then the friends climbed onto Lapras's back and set out to sea. It wasn't long before they spotted another island. Luscious green trees full of tropical fruit filled its shores. Let's stop here, Ash suggested as his stomach growled loudly. I'm hungry. This looks like a good place, Misty agreed. I could use a good, bug-free rest. Lapras, take us to that island, Ash instructed. The friends soon reached the island's shore. Pikachu couldn't wait to start exploring. Pika, Pika, it called to Togepi. Togi, Togi, gurgled the baby Pokémon. Don't go too far away, you two, Ash warned as they ran off to play. Ash, Misty and Tracy explored the shore, looking for some lunch. Just then, a nut fell from the sky. It hit Ash right on the head. Ash looked up. He saw a strange tan Pokémon flying overhead. Hey, that looks like... Ash began. Dexter finished his sentence. Farfetch'd, the wild duck Pokémon. This extremely rare Pokémon can always be found ALD holding a leek or green onion, which it uses to build its nest. Tracy was excited by the discovery. This is very unusual, he said. I need to observe it. Let's observe lunch first, Misty suggested. There are enough fruits and berries on this island that finding food shouldn't be a problem, Tracy replied as he picked a bunch of tropical fruit off a tree. Great! Let's rest here all day, Ash suggested. Our Pokémon could use a break. Ash threw 4 Pokeballs into the air. Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charizard, Snorlax, come on out. Ash called as he released his Pokémon. Squirtle was a tiny turtle Pokémon. Bulbasaur had a plant bulb growing on its back. Charizard was a fire and flying type Pokémon that looked like an orange dragon. And the sleepy Snorlax was one of the biggest and laziest Pokémon around. Misty specialized in water-type Pokémon. She released Staryu, a star-shaped Pokémon, and Goldeen, an elegant goldfish Pokémon. She sent them to play in the waves with Lapras. Finally, Tracy took out 2 Pokeballs. Venonat! Marill! The Pokémon all played happily on the beach. Marill let Togepi use its round tail like a toy. Then Ash noticed that Tracy had forgotten to release his newest bug and flying-type Pokémon, Scyther. Tracy threw the Pokeball into the air. Scyther appeared at last. It growled and hissed. The other Pokémon gasped and jumped back. They eyed its sharp, sparkling wings. Oh, Ash chuckled. None of you have met Scyther yet, have you? Everyone, Saiyans hello to Scyther. The Pokémon greeted Scyther timidly. Scyther replied with a bellowing roar. You're supposed to say hello, not scare them half to death. Misty informed Scyther. She picked Togepi up and held it tightly in her arms. Togepi wiggled its way out of Misty's arms. It hopped down and over to Scyther. Togi, Togi, it squeaked. Scyther looked down at the adorable baby Pokémon and stopped growling. When the other Pokémon saw that Togepi was okay, they walked over to Scyther, one by one. All but Charizard, that is. Ever since Ash had evolved Charizard from Charmeleon, he had had trouble getting the Pokémon to obey his commands. Introduce yourself to Scyther, too, Charizard, Ash suggested. Charizard turned away from Ash. Come on, Charizard. Listen to me. Ash whined. Charizard turned and breathed a ball of fire aimed right at Ash. But the fireball shot past Ash. It hit Scyther by mistake. Scyther flew in front of Charizard's face and roared loudly. Charizard, no! Ash yelled. Scyther, back down! Tracy commanded. But the two Pokémon didn't budge. They eyed each other angrily. I think they're going to fight, Ash cried. Chapter 6. A Day to Rest. Ash bravely stepped in between Scyther and Charizard. No fighting! This is supposed to be a day off, he shouted. Scyther and Charizard backed off. They continued to growl at each other. They had definitely not got off to a good start. This looks like a pretty hopeless situation, Misty observed. I don't think they'll ever get along. Maybe they'll be in a better mood after they eat, Tracy suggested. It's time we found lunch. Ash and his friends spent the morning wandering around the island. They searched for food and found lots of fruits and vegetables. They set up a camp on the shore. Then they started to cook. Snorlax plodded over and gobbled down all of their food in one bite. Snorlax, no! Ash cried. His stomach growled as he looked at the now empty cooking pot. Not even a crumb was left. Our dinner done in one bite, he said. With a full stomach, Snorlax lay back and instantly fell asleep. Snorlax sure isn't shy about eating when it wants to eat and sleeping when it wants to sleep, is it? Tracy commented. Maybe not, Misty said as she pulled some extra fruit and vegetables out of her bag. But at least Snorlax didn't find these. The three friends smiled. Lunch is ready, Ash called. All the Pokémon stopped splashing in the water and swinging in the trees. They ran over to the camp for some food. This time, there was one more Pokémon tagging along. What is Jigglypuff doing here? Misty asked as she noticed the pink, big-eyed Pokémon. Oh no! Ash cried. Ash knew that Jigglypuff loved to sing. Ash also knew that Jigglypuff's sing attack would send them all into dreamland. Let's get out of here, Tracy added. But nobody had a chance to go anywhere. Jigglypuff began to sing its mesmerizing lullaby. Ash, Misty, Tracy, and all the Pokémon were soon fast asleep. When they awoke, Jigglypuff was gone. But it had left a memento. Everyone had squiggles and swirls on their faces. Jigglypuff had written all over them with its black marker. Ash shook his head. The same thing happened every time. Jigglypuff got angry when its audience fell asleep. The marker was its revenge. Ash and his friends were hungrier than ever. They washed off all the marker. Then they let Snorlax sleep a little longer while they quickly ate up the fruit and vegetables from Misty's bag. Scyther and Charizard growled at each other as they ate. I guess the food isn't helping much, Misty observed. As Ash tried to keep Scyther and Charizard far apart, another problem was creeping up on a ledge behind the camp, Team Rocket. What a coincidence! Jessie remarked. We came here to relax and we found the twerps instead. No problem, James said. Who needs rest when we can finally capture Pikachu? James threw a Pokeball in the air. Victory Bell popped out. Sleep powder, James commanded. Victory Bell's sleep powder drifted over the camp. In seconds, Ash and everyone else at the camp was asleep once again. Victory Bell's sleep powder almost works too well, remarked Meowth. That's because I've trained it so well, answered James. Well done, Victory Bell. James tried to compliment his Pokémon, but Victory Bell sucked him up into its giant bellflower mouth. I'm your trainer, not your lunch, James protested. Jessie pulled James free. Come on, Master Trainer, Jessie sneered. We've got Pokémon to capture. Team Rocket fired long ropes down to the camp. Each rope had a suction cup on the end. The ropes flew through the air, and a suction cup attached to each Pokémon. Jessie and James reeled the Pokémon in. "This is going to be so easy," James sniggered. "We'll have all the Pokémon before Ash even knows what hit him." Chapter 7. Back to Battle. As Jessie and James struggled to pull in the Pokémon, Scyther and Charizard woke up. Scyther used its slashing wings to cut the ropes and free the other Pokémon. The group of Pokémon ran back to camp and huddled around their trainers. Ash heard the roars of Charizard and Scyther and bolted up out of his sleep. "What's happening?" Misty asked sleepily as she opened her eyes. "I'm not sure," Tracy answered, still half asleep, too. Team Rocket ran into the camp. "We didn't mean to wake 'em all," Meowth told Ash, "but now we're gonna take 'em all. Prepare yourselves," Jessie and James warned. "We'll never give up our Pokémon," Ash said fiercely as he gathered the Pokémon close to him. "We could beat you 3 in our sleep," Misty added. Team Rocket released Arbok and Weezing on the camp. Weezing's choking smog soon filled the air. But this time the friends weren't worried. They knew Scyther's sword dance would clear the air in no time. And they were right. Once again, the Mantis Pokémon began to spin in place. The spinning made a swirl of air that looked like a mini tornado. Soon all the smog was whisked away. Ash looked at Scyther with concern. Its was still weak, and the sword's dance had no drained its energy. It was going to need some help. "Bulbasaur," Ash commanded. "Vine Whip." The plant bulb on Bulbasaur's back opened up. Long green vines snapped through the air and hit Arbok. They stung the poison-type Pokémon. "Perfect!" Ash exclaimed. "Squirtle, water gun." Squirtle sprayed Jessie, James, and Meowth with a stream of water. The blast sent them flying through the air. "Now, Pikachu," Ash called. "Thunder Shock." A jolt that looked like lightning shot across the air and electrified Team Rocket. When Charizard saw the battle, it wanted to join in too. The large Pokémon exhaled a trail of fire right at Team Rocket. "Ouch!" Team Rocket yelled. "Hot! Hot! Hot!" Tracy looked at Scyther. He knew it would help its pride if Scyther could win the battle. "Scyther! Finish it with Skull Bash!" A bright light of energy surrounded Scyther and then it smashed into Team Rocket. Team Rocket blasted off as fast as they had appeared. "Good job, everyone!" Ash cheered. Soup the Pokémon all looked around proudly. All except for Scyther and Charizard. The 2 large Pokémon were growling at each other. It looked like another battle might break out at any moment. Chapter 8. A Near Miss. "Char!" roared the flame Pokémon. "SCY!" hissed the Mantis Pokémon. Ash looked concerned. Scyther and Charizard had so much in common. They were both powerful Pokémon. But there were definitely bad feelings between them. Would these 2 ever learn to be friends? "Break it up, you 2. Ash told them. "Ash, I don't think they want to fight," Misty suggested. "I think they're just acting tough." "I think she's right," Tracy agreed. "They've seen that they can use their great powers together to win a battle." "I hope you're right," Ash said. "That would be one less worry." Ash threw a Pokeball in the air. "Charizard, return," he called. Ash, Tracy, and Misty recalled their Pokémon and headed down to the beach where Lapras, their living water taxi, waited happily. They hopped onto Lapras and sailed out on the crisp blue waves of the sea. Well, we got a little rest on that island, Ash chuckled. But I didn't think we would need Jigglypuff and Victreebel's sleep powder too. Get it, Misty added. Pika, Pika, Pikachu remarked. The AIM friends all laughed as they sailed along in the blue-green water. It was an amazing day. A few puffy white clouds dotted the clear blue sky. A soft breeze cooled the friends. Soothing waves gently rocked them. They leaned back low on Lapras. The friends were enjoying the peaceful ride until... Crash! Splash! Something was heading right for Lapras. Look out! Tracy shouted. A giant wave nearly knocked the friends into the sea. Tracy, Ash and Misty had to hold onto Pikachu and Togepi with all their strength. We're going to crash! Misty yelled as she spotted a boat headed their way. The boats and speed were causing waves too. Power swell in the sea. It seemed like there was no way to avoid disaster. At the last second, the boat swerved around Lapras. It missed hitting them by centimeters. Hey, watch where you're going, came a voice from the boat. Misty was furious. Watch where we're going. That was totally reckless. You could have hurt somebody. You should apologize. Ash looked up to see a boy taller than Tracy. He had dark hair. I'm sorry, Heon said. My name's Tad. The boy smiled at him and said, You must be Ash. Ash blushed. I am. How did you know? I heard at the gym that you're a pretty, powerful trainer, Tad explained. I guess, Ash said casually. But he was pleased with the remark. While sailing the Orange Islands, he had been battling to earn badges so he could compete in the Orange League. So far he had done pretty well. Misty burst his bubble. He doesn't know how to fight with anything but power, she teased. That's okay, Tad laughed. I really like strong Pokémon and strong trainers. What do you say, Ash? Would you test your strength against mine? Ash looked around. He was honored by the compliments, but a little embarrassed in front of his friends. Still, he had never turned down a battle yet. I accept. Ash answered. Hop on board, Tad offered. Misty, Tracy, Ash and Pikachu climbed onto Tad's boat. Ash recalled Lapras. See that, Tad said as he pointed to a tiny speck in the sea ahead of them. We'll have the battle on that deserted island over there. Tad's speedboat got them to the island in no time. As they stood on the shore, Tad challenged, how about a 2-against-2 battle? You're on. Ash confidently accepted the challenge. He whispered to Pikachu. I'm counting on you, Pikachu. Let's win this first one. Ash knew his friend would never let him down. I see, Tad countered. An electric type. Okay, then I'll use this guy. Tad released Poliwrath, a purple water and fighting-type Pokémon with a black swirl in the middle of its stomach. Ash and Pikachu had never seen this kind of Pokémon before. They looked confused. Ash pulled out Dexter. Poliwrath, the tadpole Pokémon. Dexter said. It is an outstanding swimmer. Poliwrath has well-developed muscles. This makes its fighting attacks formidable. Pika, Pika, Pikachu squeaked as it pointed to the belt around Poliwrath's waist. What's that belt? Misty asked. That's the belt Poliwrath won in my hometown championship back in, Tad said. I told you, Ash. I like powerful Pokémon. That belt proved Poliwrath's strength. But water-type Pokémon are weak against electric-type Pokémon, Misty whispered to Ash. Pikachu should win this battle easily. Tad and Poliwrath heard Misty. They looked at each other and laughed. Tad's confidence made Ash a little nervous. But he didn't show it. Ash and Pikachu bravely faced Tad and Poliwrath. Be careful, Ash, Tracy warned. There must be a reason he's using a water-type Pokémon. Chapter 9. Power Play. Go, Pikachu! Ash commanded. Thunderbolt! Pikachu crackled with electricity. The cute yellow Pokémon released a stunning bolt. Poliwrath was hit with a blinding flash. Most Pokémon would have been knocked down by the attack. But Poliwrath wasn't even weakened. Poliwrath! Tad ordered. Double team! Ash watched in amazement as the muscular Poliwrath quickly multiplied. Now there were 2 Poliwrath instead of 1. The team circled around Pikachu. Pikachu! Ash warned. Don't get taken in. Quick attack! Faster than the blink of an eye, Pikachu released another mighty jolt of electricity. The shock hit the team of Poliwrath and forced them to merge back into one. The double team was over. But Poliwrath still looked strong. Hypnosis! Tad called to Poliwrath. Both Poliwrath turned and faced Pikachu. Aidid looked directly into Pikachu's eyes. Pikachu was dazed. Poliwrath had put Pikachu into a trance. Now, Poliwrath, Tad shouted. Water gun! A stream of water burst from Poliwrath like a fire hose. Pikachu was sent flying through the air. When Pikachu landed, Ash could see that it had fainted. Pikachu had lost the battle. What happened? Ash asked his friends. He had been so sure he and Pikachu would win this battle. It's psychology, Tracy explained. Tad used Poliwrath because he knew you would think Pikachu could easily beat it. He got you to lower your guard. Both the trainer and his Pokémon have to be pretty experienced to do something like that, Misty added. Who wants to see a fight won by type alone? Tad explained. A great trainer shows his training skill in battle. I know just the warrior to battle your Poliwrath, Tracy said as he unleashed Scyther. No, Tracy, Ash said. This is my battle. Ash wasn't going to lose to Tad so quickly. If Tad liked power, well then, he'd get some power. Ash grabbed a Pokeball and threw it into the air. Tracy recalled Scyther. He hoped his friend wouldn't act foolishly. He couldn't mean. Misty said. Go, Charizard! Ash commanded. Tracy and Misty cringed with fear. They knew how much trouble Ash had getting Charizard to obey his commands. Would the stubborn Pokémon listen to him now? I hope this goes well, Tracy called to his friend. Don't worry, Ash replied. I know Charizard can do this for me. On hearing its name, Charizard turned and looked at Ash. Then it opened its monstrous mouth. A blast of fire shot right past Ash's face. It won't even listen to its trainer? Tad chuckled. Why would you even take out a Pokémon like that? You're wrong, Ash said. Show him, Charizard. As usual, Charizard wouldn't listen to Ash's commands. It flew up in the air. It soared down and grazed the top of the water. Charizard! Ash shouted. Charizard! Come on! Get revenge for Pikachu. But the powerful Pokémon would not obey Ash. In fact, it flew right by Ash and knocked him down with its tremendous tail. Come on, Charizard, Ash pleaded. We're friends, right? Show him. Charizard turned to Ash. Once again it spat blazing fire in Ash's direction. Ouch! Ash yelled. It's not listening to Ash, said Tracy. Tracy's Scyther roared in agreement. Scyther knew that it could do a better job fighting this battle. This isn't the first time, added Misty. But it seems worse than usual. This is hopeless, Tad sniggered. I'll show you how a real Pokémon battle should be fought. Poliwrath, water gun. Once more, Poliwrath unleashed a stream of water. That made Charizard angry. It roared a ball of flame at Poliwrath. But the skilled Pokémon quickly jumped out of the immolide way. That Poliwrath is pretty high level, Misty noticed with admiration. Settle down, Charizard, Ash said to his Pokémon. Use something other than fire. To attack. Mega Punch. Charizard heard the command. But it ignored Ash. Instead, it tried to use its powerful flame to singe the water-type Pokémon. Poliwrath quickly countered with a fountain of water. Midjanet DG, that's no good, Charizard, Ash tried to explain. Fire won't work against this Poliwrath. This is getting boring, Tad yawned. I think it's about time to tie things up. Poliwrath, Ice Beam. A chill froze the air. Poliwrath held its palms together. It created a glowing white ball of ice in between its hands. Poliwrath W threw the ball at Charizard. Ash tried to warn his Pokémon. But Charizard wouldn't listen. The ice beam hit Charizard and trapped the fire-type Pokémon in a block of ice. The powerful flame Pokémon was now powerless. Charizard! Are you okay? Ash asked. Good job, Poliwrath, said Tad as he patted his prize Pokémon. Tad returned Poliwrath to its Pokeball. How about a rematch when you've learned to handle that thing? He called to Ash as he walked down the beach. Misty, Tracy, and Ash gathered around the frozen Charizard. This is really serious, Ash, Tracy quietly told his friend. I'm not sure Charizard will fully recover. Chapter 10. Things get hot. Charizard will recover, Ash said with determination. I may not be able to train it, but I will do everything I can to heal Charizard. What can we do to help? Misty asked. Pikachu, added Pikachu. Togi, said Misty's baby Pokémon. Even. Scyther looked like it wanted to help. Ash needed a plan. We should probably build some fires, Misty suggested. Ash and Tracy agreed. The heat from the fires would melt the ice and warm up Charizard. Ash, Misty, and Tracy searched the shore for driftwood. Then they built small fires around Charizard. Ash stayed with Charizard while Tracy and Misty went in search of more wood. The ice dripped slowly from the enormous creature. Ash rubbed away at what's remained. His hands became red and sore. Soon the fires had melted all the ice. But Charizard was still cold to the touch. Hang in there, Charizard, Ash said with concern. I found some blankets, Tracy said as he handed them to Ash. Look at your hands, Ash, Misty added. You should massage Charizard through the blankets so you don't hurt them more. Ash looked down at his chapped hands. This is nothing compared to the damage Charizard took, he said sadly. He knew it was his fault that Charizard was in such bad shape. Misty and Tracy covered Charizard with the blankets. I think we should rub Charizard, too, Misty suggested to Tracy. Ash, Misty and Tracy worked into the night. They rubbed Charizard from snout to tail. Pikachu and Togepi helped, too. Even Scyther fanned the fires with its wings. But as much as they tried, it didn't look like Charizard was getting any better. Tracy and Misty yawned. You should get some sleep, Ash told them. Ash's friends didn't want to leave him. But they were too tired to argue. Pikachu, Togepi and Scyther fell asleep soon after. Ash was left alone with the Pokémon that had caused him so much trouble. Come on, Charizard, Ash whispered. Hurry up and get better. As if it were obeying Ash's commands, Charizard opened its eyes. Ash could see a small, weak flame inside Charizard's eyes. That's it, Charizard, said Ash. Charizard was too weak to keep its eyes open. Ash thought back to all the moments he had shared with the Pokémon. He remembered how cute the lizard had been when it was just a little Charmander. He remembered how he had to nurse Charmander back to health after it had been abandoned in the rain by a former trainer. He remembered when it evolved into Charmeleon and when Charmeleon had finally evolved into Charizard. Look, Charizard, Ash said. I know I may not be the greatest trainer. And I know you don't want to battle low-level Pokémon. You probably don't listen to me because I am a low-level trainer. But someday, I'll be experienced enough to battle by your side. That's my dream, to battle as a team. And, Charizard, I know we'll win. Charizard tried to get up. It opened its mouth. A puff of smoke blew out, along with a weak roar. Ash knew Charizard was on the way to regaining its fire power. He quickly gathered more wood to build up the fires around Charizard. Rest a little more, Ash said sleepily. You'll be all better in the morning. When the sun rose, Tracy, Misty and the other Pokémon woke up. They found Ash asleep on top of Charizard. Ash, Misty whispered in his ear. It's time to get up. Did Charizard get any better last night? Tracy asked. Ash sighed. Just a little. Ash climbed off Charizard. The large Pokémon twisted and turned. Then, with a great roar, Charizard stood burst of flames. It worked, Ash! Tracy and Misty cried. They all rushed over to hug Charizard. Pika, Pika, said Pikachu. SCYTHER hissed. It looked happy that the other Pokémon had got its strength back. The friends were all congratulating Charizard when they felt a rumble in the earth. Suddenly, a machine that looked like an underground submarine exploded through the ground. The force sent Pikachu flying into the air. Before anyone could stop it, the drill on the front of the machine opened up into two pieces. Pikachu fell right into the middle of the drill and was captured. Ash couldn't tell what was happening with all the dust and noise. What was that? Misty shouted. They didn't have to wait long for an answer. Jessie, James and Meowth appeared on top of the machine. Team Rocket was at it again. Thanks for Pikachu, Jessie called to Ash. Ash looked around. Then he noticed Pikachu, trapped in a clear box inside the machine. It's the electric-proof box you've all been waiting for, Meowth purred. Our years of suffering have finally paid off, added James. We got you, Pikachu. No sense in overstaying our welcome. Jessie sneered. Bye-bye. Team Rocket jumped back inside the machine. The land submarine quickly tunneled back underground. Ash ran after them. Ash, stop. Tracy warned. It's too dangerous. I've got to get Pikachu. Ash answered. I don't care how dangerous it is. Charizard flew over and scooped up Ash. Charizard! Ash cried thankfully. Charizard headed for the tunnel the machine had made. It looks like Charizard really wants to help Ash, Misty remarked. I know, agreed Tracy. But is it strong enough? Chapter 11. A well-trained Pokémon. Ash and Charizard followed Team Rocket through the tunnels and back into the daylight. The giant Pokémon roared with anger. Wisps of fire spurted from Charizard's mouth. Be careful, Charizard. Ash warned. Remember, fire will burn up Pikachu, too. Ash tried to think of other tactics to use. There was no way he would ever let Pikachu get hurt. Charizard, he asked. Do you think there's any way you can break that machine? Char, the lizard Pokémon roared. Charizard jumped up in the air. Its tremendous feet landed on top of the machine and smashed it open. Pikachu once again flew into the air. Charizard caught the electric-proof box that Pikachu was in and broke the glass with its teeth. Pikachu fell into Ash's arms. Pikachu! Ash cried as he was reunited with his Pokémon. Thank you, Charizard. Pika, Pikachu thanked Charizard. You won't get away, Pikachu. Jessie screamed. We've still got our ace in the hole, Meowth howled as he pressed a switch. Sharp, spinning blades appeared on both sides of the machine. Look out! Ash shouted. The blades hit Ash and Pikachu. They both fell off Charizard and were knocked out. Charizard saw what happened to its trainer. Angry smoke puffed from its snout. Then a colossal ball of fire began spinning inside Charizard's mouth. Streaks of scorching flames shot toward Team Rocket. Fire! James shouted as he ran as fast as he could away from the blaze. It's not the season for a heat wave, cried Jessie. Yow-wow, howled Meowth as flames blistered its tail. The shouting revived Ash and Pikachu. They were amazed. Charizard had never shown fire power like that before. Ash looked at Dexter for an explanation. Rage, one of Charizard's most powerful attacks, Dexter announced. It is a dragon-type attack that inflicts great damage to the opponent. As the rage hit Team Rocket, they were tossed far out into the sea. Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again, they shouted. Together, Ash and Pikachu flew back to the beach on Charizard's back. That was great, Ash said as he hugged Charizard. You're so cool! Actually, Charizard's so hot, Tracy added with a grin, he's on fire. You did it, Ash, Misty complimented her friend. Charizard finally understands how you feel. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Ash smiled. Char! Charizard roared. A familiar figure walked over and held out his hand to Ash. Congratulations, Ash, said Tad. Tad, said Ash as he shook the other trainer's hand. Thank you. You're welcome, replied Tad. Now, do you think you're ready for a new battle? Ash hesitated. He looked to Charizard. Charizard roared its approval. Of course, said Ash. He turned to his fire-type Pokémon. I know you can do this, Charizard. I believe in you. Tad commanded Polyrath to use water gun. Polyrath blasted water from the middle of its belt. The jet of water headed directly for Charizard. Fly, Charizard! Ash called out. Charizard quickly flew out of the way. Look, shouted Tracy. Charizard ducked the attack. That's because it's listening to Ash, now, explained Misty. Polyrath followed up with an icy blast. Charizard melted the chilling attack in a fiery blaze. This won't end like it did yesterday. Ash yelled to Tad. Don't be so sure, Tad smirked. Charizard's a good fighter, but it's not good enough to beat my Polyrath. Ice Beam, he commanded. Polyrath spun around and sent out a shower of ice. Fly, countered Ash. Charizard flew out of the way. Polyrath, body slam, shouted Tad. Polyrath got ready to use its muscle power on Charizard. Ash thought quickly. Charizard, he called. Seismic toss. Charizard got a flying start. It charged at Polyrath, knocking the water-type Pokémon down with its heavy weight. Then Charizard picked up Polyrath. It flew high into the air, spun around, and sent the water-type Pokémon smashing to the ground. Polyrath didn't move. It was knocked out. Ash and Charizard had won the battle. We did it, Charizard! Ash shouted as he hugged the giant creature. That was great, Ash, cheered Tracy. Great battle, Ash, Tad agreed. Let's do it again someday. You're on, said Ash. Misty smiled at Ash. You're on your way to becoming a master trainer, she told him. What do you mean, Misty? Ash asked. Now you know the secret to becoming a Pokémon master isn't power, Misty explained. It's friendship and teamwork. You're right, Misty, Ash agreed. Charizard would never have listened to me if I didn't understand how it felt. Ash, Misty, and Tracy waved goodbye to Tad as he boarded his boat. Ash wanted to get moving, too. He couldn't wait for the next challenge. With Charizard on his side, Ash was one step closer to becoming a Pokémon master. The end. Don't miss Ash and Friends' next exciting adventure. Balloon Battle. Read on for a sneak peek. What's over that hill? Ash Ketchum wondered. Ash pushed back the red cap that he wore over his dark hair and squinted into the morning sun. He and his friends had been walking along a green, hilly path for hours. But now he could see bright bursts of color in the distance. Brock shaded his eyes. It looks like a bunch of hot air balloons, said the older boy. Maybe it's some kind of festival. Cool, said Misty. Let's check it out. Ash couldn't help smiling at his friends. Since his 10th birthday, Ash had been on a journey to catch and train Pokémon. Brock and Misty had been with him since the beginning. Their journey had taken them all the way to the far-off Orange Islands. Brock had left them for a while to study Pokémon breeding with an expert named Professor Ivy. Ash and Misty decided to explore the Orange Islands on their own. They had some help from a Pokémon watcher named Tracy Sketchit. Ash had many adventures on the Orange Islands. He saw strange new Pokémon. He captured a Lapras and a Snorlax. He even earned some new badges by battling gym leaders on the Orange Islands. Now their Orange Islands adventures were over. Ash was sad to say goodbye to Tracy. But it was nice to be back with Brock again. It felt like old times. And Ash knew that Brock and Misty were usually up for anything. I'd love to see a balloon festival, Ash told them. We need to take a break anyway. Pika, agreed Ash's Pokémon, Pikachu. The small yellow electric-type Pokémon had a tail shaped like a lightning bolt, pointy ears, and bright red cheeks. Ash carried his other Pokémon in red and white Pokeballs. But not Pikachu. It always walked alongside Ash. Another that never traveled in a ball was Misty's Togepi. This tiny Pokémon hatched from an egg and still wore the eggshell around its little round body. Misty usually carried the baby Pokémon in her arms. These balloons are pretty amazing, Ash said as they got closer. Wicker baskets where passengers could ride were attached to the large balloons. Ropes fixed to steel anchors in the ground kept the balloons from floating away. The balloons were lined up along a winding river. Ash counted 8 balloons. Each of them was decorated with different colorful designs. A banner reading Pokémon Balloon Race Today flew overhead. The banner got Ash's attention. Pokémon Balloon Race? He wondered. I've got to find out what this is about. Spectators crowded the balloon field. Vendors selling souvenirs, food and drinks were lined up on the north side. Pikachu sniffed the air hungrily. Its stomach growled. Pika? Asked the Pokémon, pointing to a food stand. You're hungry now? Ash asked. Can't we look around a little first? Misty stepped up next to Ash. I'm hungry, too, she said. And so is Togepi. Why don't I take Pikachu and Togepi for a snack? We'll catch up with you in a few minutes. Pikachu! Pikachu said happily. Togi Togi, gurgled the baby Pokémon. Good idea, Ash said. Brock and I will take a closer look at some of the balloons. How about it, Brock? Brock nodded. Sounds good to me. Misty took Pikachu's hand. Ash watched as they walked away and Misty's orange ponytail disappeared into the crowd. Which one do you want to check out first? Ash asked Brock. How about that one? Brock suggested. He pointed to a balloon decorated with an orange Pokémon that looked like a winged dragon. Ash recognized it, a Dragonite. Standing next to the balloon was a girl about Brock's age. She had long blonde hair and wore a light blue t-shirt and jeans. Ash smiled. I bet I can guess why you want to see that one, Ash teased his friend. Brock had a weakness for pretty girls. Brock blushed. Let's go, he said. Read. Balloon Battle. To find out what happens next.